Okay. So, hey, it's awesome to have you on the podcast. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like almost like a year, right?
Yeah. I got introduced to you a while ago. I'm a fan of the music for sure. You're an East Coast warrior,
Thank you.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
So, do you identify as like a real deal Philly chick, or do you feel like you're kind of an overall East Coast girl, or are you a New Yorker at this point too?
Nah, I'm definitely a Philly chick.
Okay.
For sure. Forever.
What area of the city did you grow up in?
West Philly.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it like out there? I don't really know the sides or anything.
The hood, like everywhere else. And then I like moved uptown, but like every part of Philly is just the hood regardless.
Really?
Yeah.
So you lived there your whole life until when?
I moved away right after high school, so like what is that? 2012.
2012 you were out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That means you're probably almost exactly 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2012. 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I know, right? I'm fucking ancient.
What was that like?
Graduated in 2002. It was like you leave the assembly and you just put on some Blink-182 and you just listen to it as you drive away and you drive off into the sunset and that's it.
Damn.
Well, okay, that's my question for you. What were you listening to the summer after you graduated high school?
Let me think. I feel like that's when acid rap came out, right?
Oh, okay.
From what I remember, I feel like that was like a acid rap moment for me.
Right.
My first time getting introduced to him, and then I don't know what was coming out. I can't front. I'm still stuck in like 2007, so I was probably still listening to that shit.
You're still stuck in 2007. For me, 2007 was like Dipset, End of G Unit, that kind of stuff.
Like I know all that was happening, and I was down with it, but I was definitely like emo.
You were
2007.
emo. So you weren't on hip hop at that time?
Not as heavily as I was discovering like rock more.
Really?
More or less, yeah.
What were you listening to at that time? Even though I know I'm probably not gonna have heard of most of these bands.
I mean, there was like the general like that's when like pop rock really became a wave. So there was like a whole lot of like Panic at the Disco, Paramore, Fall Out Boy. That was my first time hearing about a lot of those. At the same time, I was going kind of deeper. So I was on some like it was bands like Alisana and like freaking Meshuggah.
Really?
And like I was it was super deep into like death metal, trying to figure it out.
Really didn't see that coming. I didn't
like,
know
As I
you
Lay
were gonna be a
Dying,
metalhead.
like
Okay.
Yeah, shit like that.
There's a whole section of dudes who are watching this right now that just became like, all right, I fuck with her. Yep. For some reason, I feel like No Jumper is maybe like the main place where like the connection between like rap and metal gets explored because I never hear anyone else talk about it. But then constantly I have rappers on here who are like genuine metal fans or at least had like a serious metal stage.
Definitely. You just have to like keep it low key because you can like play that shit on the aux because you're not sure who else ever heard of it.
You don't think?
Nah, not at the time. I mean, that was middle school for me, so I was going to a pretty diverse middle school. Like it was like one of those smart schools type shit. So I was exposed to a lot of different music and I was exploring a lot more like rock and like metal and everything. But I also was like learning about like K-pop and J-pop and all that type of shit. So
I'm still baffled by K-pop all the time.
I still don't understand it. Like it sounds like video game music to me.
Yeah, I just keep getting put on to more and more Asian hip hop, and I keep watching it, and I keep being like, all right, but I don't really feel like I understand it. But I guess really, why would I?
Yeah.
So were you not a rap fan like early in your life, or?
No, I was. I mean, like the first music I was exposed to with my parents was like old school hip hop. My dad never probably passed 2002 with his music collection, so I had always heard it, but just around that time I just wanted to hear something else because that was like all I was hearing. That was
Did you feel like what hip hop was? What in your family or in your neighborhood or what?
Yeah, and like a lot of it, like my parents weren't strict with it, but everyone else in my family was like they didn't want me to listen to it because at the time I feel like it was like the sexuality was super in your face. I mean it is now too, but like 2002, 2003, those kind of years, like
Lil Jon.
Yeah, all that shit. I mean, I was still listening to it, but I just wanted to hear other shit.
Yeah.
Also.
It's totally understandable. Do you have like a relationship to like Philadelphia rap in any way, or is that
yeah,
you
of
don't?
course.
Okay, you do.
I spent like millions of hours online listening to battle raps and
okay.
Like, all that good.
I thought you were gonna say you spent millions of hours looking at Freeway's beard.
I mean, he blends in. He looks like every other nigga. Like
Okay, that is true. Yeah,
in Philly.
Some like Maddox came in and did this podcast, and he had a guy with him, and like he just had like a big ass beard, and I was just like, oh, like I felt like I knew so much about him. I'm like, oh, you're a Muslim guy from Philly, cool. Like, like I just knew that right away because it's such a look, you know, out there. Mm-hmm. You never been into guys that look like that?
I mean, like I have a soft spot, but like that also looks like my pop. Like,
oh, okay. Like, your dad looks like Jack Frost.
For fake.
You know who that is?
Yes, I
okay,
do.
Good.
Yes.
I've been shouting Jack Frost out on this podcast. I don't know why. I like talked to him on MySpace in like 2005.
That's your shit. Oh.
Yeah. Beards in the building.
It's MySpace.
Wait, so your parents are real cool hip hop fans, but like, do you think they started to feel some type of way when you started like going in the mosh pit?
Nah.
Did you go in the mosh pit?
Nah, I wasn't about that life. I enjoy watching it. I was too frail for that shit.
Did you go to metal shows as a kid?
I went.
I don't know why I'm going so
I
deep
went like
down
once or twice. Like I went once or twice, but I was too like ironic for those concerts. I was like, I don't feel like being the only black person here.
Did you feel like they were treating you like a novelty?
It wasn't even so much that. It was just like the good double take, like, and I was very aware of myself.
Right.
But it wasn't too bad. Everybody was super turned up.
I probably would have gone to more rap shows as a kid if well, actually, you know what? Those probably were all white kids too. I don't really even know. See, that's the problem. It's all white people going to shows, isn't it?
I mean, who was having a rap show when you were
Boston,
a kid?
In New Hampshire?
In New
Nobody.
Hampshire. Nobody was coming to New Hampshire.
No, I guarantee that like in like 2002, like Ludacris was playing at the Worcester Palladium, but it's like, did I care about going to that? No. Like if that's why I feel good for kids now. It's like they have like cool underground rap scenes pretty much everywhere because of the internet.
Yeah, the internet's definitely giving everybody a platform. It's like.
Was there a certain point where you started to be like, okay, I'm interested in hip hop more so, or when did you start rapping or making music at all?
Well, I had always been writing. Like I tried to write books and novels and stuff like that all throughout middle school.
Really?
And high school, yeah, I would just like type them up on my computer because it didn't actually have internet. So I was either like typing stories or like playing Spider Solitaire.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It was that, but then it didn't develop into actual songs and trying to complete songs because I couldn't complete books until sometime in high school, and I would like play around in school and like do little raps or whatever, but it was just like some regular shit. So right out of high school, I recorded my first song. Mm-hmm. And
where'd you record it, and what was it about?
I recorded it in the basement of my homie's crib, who I had been spending like every day after school in high school at this crib, and you know, my friends were recording shit and I never did. So I finally did record something. It was this place in West Philly, we called it The Port. First place I got high, first place I got drunk, like all these things. So it was the song that I ended up putting it out called Selfie. So that was like the first song I had ever recorded, and then I put the shit out, yeah.
And did it start doing well that made you want to go do a video for it and everything?
Yeah, because I didn't know what to expect really. I was just kind of like throwing it out there and everything, and the response was good enough for me to want to put a video out, and that was that.
Was that the start of everything? Like that was when people actually started to like talk to you and like treat you like as a serious musician?
Yeah, because any other time I had been approached, it was something about modeling, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that like the problem with being a girl in rap? Is that like every other like girl is like, well, not every other girl, but there's a lot of the roles in hip hop are being played by women, and they're not necessarily boss roles. They're like, there's so many video girls around that is it hard to even like get people to treat you serious as a girl who's actually trying to rap?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of negative connotations on being a rapper alone, and then like let alone a female rapper, because they're not necessarily all like undeserved. You know, a lot of people do have ghostwriters and shit like that. So when you get asked, like, you know, do you write your raps off rip, I get insulted because I write them, but I imagine, like, there's been so many experiences where that has been the case.
But nobody would ever ask a dude that. Like, nobody
exactly.
would
They're never going to ask you to your face, like, yo, do you write your raps? Like,
yeah. And if you found out a dude didn't write his raps, you'd be, well, not horrified, but you'd be, like, shocked. Like, you'd think that's quite out of the ordinary. Whereas, like, but I'm not sure what percentage. Like, I definitely know girls who don't write their own raps, even like underground rappers, like a couple of them. But I'm not sure how common that is, or if that's common throughout the history of rap. I don't know.
I'm just starting to realize like a lot of people aren't writing their raps. Period. Like no gender even necessary, and it's shocking to me, and it's making me like, like look at my idols differently. But
You talking about Drake? You talking about Nicki?
no, neither was an idol actually. They're cool though.
Okay.
But just in general, like it's as someone who does write all my own music, it was kind of shocking because I didn't know that so many people didn't.
You always hear that about the industry, but I feel like I don't really know that many rappers who I know that they don't write their stuff, because I feel like I only hang out with like relatively underground people for the most part, who are at that stage where they still are writing their own stuff, I guess. I don't know. Damn, we got to swap a list later. You can tell me who ain't writing their own shit. You got a list in your phone?
No, I just,
That's the ultimate like industry gossip, is who doesn't write their own raps and who's gay. Those are the lists in my phone. Just kidding. Wait, so you do the selfie song.
Yeah.
Did Yams acknowledge you because of that song? When did this happen?
Nah. Me and Yams started speaking because I felt like the first conversation we had was about a Coogee sweater that I had.
Wow.
And then after that, I had wanted to do A&R before I was making music. That's where I really wanted to go with it. I felt like I had an ear, and like the people that I had called it on in like 2012 are successful now. And I was like, I think I can do this. And when I found out, that's what he did, I asked him, I was like, you ever had like basically an intern before, like somebody follow you around? And he told me, the next time I was in New York to come fuck with him, or like at the next show in Philly, something like that. So from there we just developed a friendship. But when I did start making the music, he acknowledged that I should continue making music, and A&R you can always do.
Yeah, it's weird because I think a lot of people want to be A&Rs, but it's almost impossible to get that kind of job unless you have a track record, and it's almost impossible to get a track record unless you do something that's like completely impossible, like break an artist like Rocky from the ground up, which he did. Like that doesn't happen very often. But hey, there's a good way to cheat your way into the A&R game real quick. Not cheat, but. So was that early though? Was that like Rocky's already been out and everything, and so you already like know about Yams when he got in touch with you?
This is like probably the first time I had gone to a ASAP show was I was a senior in high school, so this is 2012. I feel like that was probably his first tour after the first tape.
Right.
And that's where I found out that it was more than just one person and was a collective.
Right.
And from there, that's where...
Because you didn't have internet.
I did have internet, just not on the computer in my room.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Feel me? So, like, but I was late. Like, I had heard the tape, but, like, like, out and about. That's back when you could still just hear shit. Like, you just go to your homie's crib and he's playing some shit you haven't heard before, which doesn't happen too often to me anymore. So, it's just like, I was like, what is this? And he was like, can you guess where this nigga's from? I'm like, fuck no. And I heard the tape for the first time, chopped and screwed. Like, the Slim K version. Crazy, yeah. I didn't even hear the original version of the tape. Yeah. First.
God, it's so weird when you start hanging out with people who just chop and screw shit all the time, and you be listening to it like that. God, I got one homie who does that, and this shit fucks me up. He had me listening to the same Weezer song, Chopped and Screwed, for like a whole week,
It's amazing. Like,
you like that?
Cool. Yeah, I fuck with Chopped and Screwed.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to like take in albums and actually know what they sound like and like form an opinion of them generally. So it's like if I'm listening to it super slowed down, I feel like somebody's fucking with whatever process I have for like trying to understand music. I don't know.
That was deep.
NoJumper.com. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you want one of these, you know where to go. And then No Jumper Facebook too. Link is down in the description. Some good stuff going on over there. Appreciate y'all watching this.